Hey there, welcome to the Pragmata Sketchbook demo. More specifically, welcome to the Pragmata Sketchbook demo running on hardware that it is clearly not made for. So here you see me going into the options menu and in the graphics, turning down all of these options either as low as they can go or just off entirely in order to get the game running at a native 1080p. So if that already isn't enough of an indication of how outdated my setup is, I'm actually going to put my information on screen for a moment so you can see what I'm working with here. Gaze upon my specs and despair. I just kind of wanted to see how far I could push it, and we're just going to let the whole demo play out here, but then also I'm going to show off some other configurations because I was just experimenting with all the different settings, trying to come up with something that, you know, might look good, but obviously wouldn't be as good as just running the real thing at a native 1080p with a better setup. So before we even get into that, I just want to say that based on this demo, I'm already sold on the game. Like, as of right now, it is absolutely on my Steam wish list. So at some point, if or when I do upgrade, even if it's like, you know, a little something incremental, I'm definitely getting this. Pragmata is the game that I want an upgrade PC for. Like, when I first saw the trailers and reveals and stuff, I was kind of skeptical. Like, based on what I saw of it, it just kind of seemed like, oh, just another over-the-shoulder, you know, third-person game, and it looked kind of clunky. And then I remember Maximilian dude, he had made a demo impressions video talking about his experience with the demo, and you know, he said that he had a pretty good time with it and all that. And I only just recently realized that there was a demo available on PC, so I, you know, installed it. Obviously, I had to turn things down to get it to run decently on my setup, but I ended up having a really good time with it. I was honestly surprised. Like, you know, I was proven wrong. I first thought it was going to be something kind of lame, but no, it's pretty good. The thing that stood out the most to me was the fact that Hugh's movement, like his animations kind of make him look slow and clunky, but no, the dude, he moves. Like, that's the best way to describe it. He moves. Like, it's not similar to, say, Dead Space. You're not, you know, you're not semi-tank control kind of thing. You just move like a normal video game character would. It's very responsive. He turns on a dime. You know, he jumps pretty easily. The boost mechanic is pretty good. The whole dodging thing, it all just feels great. Like, I'm just kind of surprised that for a guy with a suit as big and bulky as that, he moves so elegantly. That's kind of what caught my eye. And then also the whole hacking thing, I bet there's going to be some really interesting mechanics in the full game. Because, like, just doing this stuff with, like, you know, the decode and the multi-hack. Also, I just thought it was really interesting how, you know, when you're aiming and Diana's hacking, and you use the face buttons to do the actual hacking, that feels surprisingly intuitive. Like, it doesn't, like, at first glance, it seems kind of awkward to do, but no, you just kind of, you know, you just press the face buttons, get to the completed thing, and you're in. It's that simple. You know, then you got your main weapon, which is basically a plasma cutter, alright? Like, it's a pistol, but it's pretty much a plasma cutter. Then you've got these disposable weapons that have limited time use, which, you know, that's not too bad. And then enemies sometimes drop weapons like that. So there's some trade-offs, but I could totally see the full game having all kinds of fun little mechanics that build on top of that. So I would genuinely look forward to, you know, experiencing it. But again, obviously, I need a PC that can handle it. Right now, this ain't it. So between this and the 3 other, you know, graphical tests that I'm going to do later on, in all of those, I had to turn Diana's hair physics down to low. Like, no matter what I try to come up with, her hair is always a frame rate killer. Even at, well, again, you'll see later on, but the thing I was trying to say is that when I have it on and I try to get the game working, at a decent frame rate, it seems like her hair is ghosting. I guess it's because of the anti-aliasing. I don't know if I tried it with the TAA turned off and stuff, but like, it looks good, but the way it moves looks kind of blurred and wispy. So I was like, that's kind of distracting. And again, obviously, Diana's hair is a big part of her character design. It's just kind of flitting all over the place. And with this low setting, you can tell that it's just, flat textures and polygons and stuff. But I feel like there could have been some kind of in-between where, like, between the low and medium setting, there's like something where her hair still looks like this, but there's just more moving parts, so that there's more, just more tufts of hair flowing around at this level of fidelity. And then you go to the whole, fancy hair tech stuff. I don't know what they call that at Capcom. It's not like Tress Effects with Tomb Raider. But, her hair looks decent like this. Obviously, it's old, but you get the idea. And then I turn screen space reflections off on all of these. And when it does, I guess it kind of creates these like fake simulated reflections on the ground. Or I wonder if I turn them on, does that like assume that if I had ray tracing or path tracing, it would show like proper reflections? I don't know, because when I turn it on, it makes the ground and walls look more flat than they do right now. Because right now, they kind of have this, decent looking, reflections, but I don't know. I don't know how this tech works. I'm just a guy who plays games for fun. I'm not the technical advisor here. But, yeah. So at native 1080p, the frame rates were not great. Again, and this was with everything turned all the way down or off if I could. But I don't think it ever dropped below, I want to say 40 frames per second. Because when I was recording all of these, you're not going to see it on the screen obviously, but I had Steam's performance overlay turned on so I could see the frame rate, my CPU and the GPU percentage and all that stuff. And yeah, I don't think the frame rate ever dropped below 40 or something like that, something close to that. So I figured, it's like, I don't know. When I played games like the Resident Evil remakes or Death Stranding, I could play them with their settings turned up relatively high, like kind of between medium high with a few bells and whistles here and there. And those games, they still look great, and they made me think that I was basically future-proof. Like, oh, I don't need to upgrade. They'll make games looking like this for years, and, they'll always optimize them for older GPUs. Not with this one. This is definitely a game that is made for, like, today's tech. Like, stuff released maybe 2 or 3 years ago at best. But again, there's obviously a lot of factors involved because, it's not just the GPU. I've seen some other gameplay of people playing Pragmata with a GTX 1060, but they had a way better CPU and motherboard, and they had more RAM. So I had assumed that, oh, maybe I just need to upgrade, one component. But obviously you can't always just do that because you have to make sure that the parts are compatible with each other. Otherwise you might run into some kind of crazy, bottleneck issues, and I don't want to deal with any of that. So I really have to do my research on this stuff before I commit to it. And I know a couple of people who, deal with PCs regularly. They know this stuff inside and out. So when the time comes and I just happen to have some money, set aside, that I could even upgrade to something like a few years ahead of what I work with, that would probably be enough. And I bet it wouldn't be too expensive. Hopefully. Again, with, you know, prices being what they are right now and this whole RAM shortage and everything, I don't know. I don't know, man. But we'll see. We'll see. In the meantime, I have so many other games I could be playing right now. So, like, my backlog, well, smaller than it used to be, it's still got a ways to go. So by the time I get through my backlog, I might have enough money set aside to upgrade my PC. So until then, I'll just make do with what I have. And again, that's kind of the whole point of this video. It's not about me trying to find something that works to the point where, oh, I'm okay with this, I'll buy the game and play it like this. Like, no, I don't. When I buy Pragmata, I want to buy it when I have a setup that can easily handle it. I don't want to buy it right now and then have to turn everything down, you know, low resolution, you know, less textures and lighting and all that. Like, no, I want to play the game that's being advertised. I want to see, you know, that version of the game. Yeah, this is just, you know, a fun little experiment just to mess around. Also, I got really lucky in this recording because for whatever reason, the audio in this scene always gets like cut off and ends up out of sync. But in this, like, you know, in this take, I got it working right. And the other one's not so much, so I'm happy with this.
Unauthorized access detected. Severing primary connection.
But yeah, I remember that part right there when the door opens, the FPS would just like jump all the way back up to 60 because there's nothing there but a door opening up. But yeah, I mean, there really is just a lot going on in this game to the point where my PC just can't handle it. And, you know, obviously at some point, you just have to bite the bullet and upgrade. Like, I'm thankful that I was able to, you know, keep this going as long as I have, but, you know, there's going to be a point where something comes up that you really want, and, you know, it's not going to be the ideal, you know what I mean? It's like you're going to come into something that's really cool, but obviously your setup isn't built for it. So what do? Are you going to play at a lower quality? Are you going to just like play it as is and hope your PC doesn't blow up? Or do you upgrade? That's the, you know, that's the thing. And again, I'm sure if I had really like upgraded this a long time ago, I wouldn't be having this problem. Because like I said, there are videos out there of people playing this game with the same GPU, but with other components that work better with it, and you can still get some decent quality out of it. So yeah, someday. But until then, it's kind of fun to look at this and just kind of like see just how much you can still do with something this old. And also, this video is kind of like, I guess, me quote-unquote celebrating my the 10-year anniversary of this PC. Like, I had a friend help me decide the parts on PC Part Picker, and I had ordered them, and I put it all together in May of 2016. So this is like a momentous occasion. You know, let's celebrate 10 years of PC gaming by showing off a game that my PC can't run. That's one way to send off this thing. So yeah, we're at the end of the demo, and then after this, I'm gonna show off some fun little configurations that I did by changing the graphic settings and the resolutions, and it's kind of showing off how the game would look if, you know, it wasn't like this.
This is how we say good job.
Yeah, high five. Alright, so what we're doing here is where I turned some settings low, some of them medium, just to kind of get, you know, a little bit more, some better lighting, better textures and all that stuff. But the main thing here is that I also turned the image quality down to 50%. So it's like technically 1080p, but like, you know, the visual quality is just cut in half, so it's like displaying at half the resolution. And I had went online and looked at one of those like resolution calculator things, and it said that like that, you know, 50% of 1080p was like 13 something by 762. I don't know if that's entirely accurate, but I don't know. But I gotta say, this was definitely the best looking of these different configurations. And if you're watching this on a, you know, on a phone, it might look good, you know. But obviously, I wouldn't want to look at this for too long. Even though my eyes kind of did adjust to it. Like, as far as performance goes, this was probably like easily the best version of my experiments here. But again, it's no replacement for the real thing, which is, you know, native 1080p with these same like graphical settings. If I could just get that, I'd be happy. Like, you guys know me, I don't really have much interest in, you know, 1440p or 4K or 120 FPS and all that stuff. Like, if you just give me 1080p, 60 frames per second, and a few bells and whistles, I'm a happy camper. That's all I need, really. So here we have those same those same graphical settings from before, but this time it's just displaying at 720p. And I would say this is a pretty good compromise. Like, again, it's cleaner than the 50% image quality, and there are a few more like frame rate dips and all that, but I would probably say this is like the perfect middle ground, where obviously it's not so blurry that it hurts your eyes, but obviously it's not as good as I would like. Again, I wouldn't buy the game to play it like this, maybe, but you know, this is, for me, this is doable. I could work with this. I'd be curious to see like how cutscenes would work if there was, you know, multiple people, a lot more action on screen and things like that. But yeah, there were a few like, you know, key choke points in here, like you know, this elevator scene, the boss fight, that one room where you first have to, you know, unlock those 3 locks, and that bit with the lasers. For some reason, the frame rate always dips really hard in those areas. So
Have to fight our way through.
yeah, 720p.
Get ready.
You know, I mean, I get it. It's old. It's not true HD anymore, I guess. I don't know. Like, we're always moving that goalpost a little bit higher. But again, all of my monitors are like 24, 27 inches. I could work with this. You know, I've seen worse. And then for this last one, again, same graphical settings, but I'm using FSR 3.1 to upscale the image. I've heard a lot of stuff about upscalers like, you know, FSR and DLSS and all of that stuff, but I've never actually used them for anything. And I vaguely recall Death Stranding having one of those options, but I didn't use it because I just didn't know what it was. I didn't mess with it. But
Don't look now.
yeah, this was actually kind of interesting. Like, it's like the closest to native 1080p with these extra visual effects, but obviously not quite there. Like, it's a little bit pixelated. Well, not a little bit pixelated, but you know what I mean. It's, I don't know. I can't use my words today, and I don't know fancy tech talk words. But what I'm just trying to say here is that, you know, the upscaling is pretty impressive. It's got everything looking about as good as it can with this stuff. But again, I wouldn't want to rely on this stuff. And I've seen lots of videos and essays on YouTube about how some developers are using upscalers and frame gen and all that stuff as a crutch to not optimize their games, and that's not for me to try and figure out. You know, if I could just get the game running, you know, natively, then I wouldn't be having this issue in the first place. But again, that's on me for not upgrading. So one of these days I will commit to it. But until then, there's always FSR. See ya.